I'd like to call the meeting of the Development Review Board to order, June 20, 2017.
Great. Our first item on our agenda this evening are the minutes from our last meeting.
Any corrections? Don't see any. Motion? Barry moves.
Move to approve.
Charles seconds. All in favor?
I'm abstaining. One abstention. We do have a sign-up sheet for folks who speak to the board this evening on the podium up there, and it includes the following oath statement. I solemnly swear or affirm under the pain and penalty of perjury that the statements I make, testimony I give, and other evidence I submit to the board at the board's public hearing held on this date should be true and correct to the best of my knowledge and belief. Again, we ask you to sign that before speaking to the board this evening. Next item on our agenda is disclosure of any ex parte communications or conflicts of interest regarding the matters before us this evening.
Do you have any? Don't see any.
Okay. We're going to change the agenda around just a bit since Jason's here and ready to go. So therefore, the first item is going to be Town of Bennington, and it involves the extension of the municipal water line system. And Jason, we did have an ARP meeting and recommended approval, but we wanted Jason to make a quick presentation to the full board this evening.
Jason Dolmich, MSK Engineering, presenting for the Town of Bennington for their proposed water line extension, which is going to is designed to provide water to affected residences in the northwestern quadrant of town. And the reason why we're here in front of you is because we are proposing infrastructure inside the FEH fluvial erosion hazard boundary and the special flood hazard area. And the proposed design extends down Vale Road, Red Pine Road, Austin Hill, Murphy Road, North Bennington Road, Silk Road, and some minor streets, Cardinal Lane, Bridge Street, Edith and Eaton Road. The area of concern for us starts around the base of Silk Road, extending north to the intersection with North Bennington Road, and then the entirety of North Bennington Road, which starts at the end of the water line on by Carbone Hyundai Ford and extends approximately to just outside the village of North Bennington limits. So we have there will be two river crossings, one at Silk Road, under Silk Road at the Silk Road Bridge, and then under the Paper Mill Bridge, and then there'll be an aerial crossing at the Murphy Road Bridge, which is right next to the Paper Mill Bridge. We've submitted the plans to the state flood hazard coordinator, and he's reviewed them. We've supplied that response in your packet, and he saw no issues. Are there any specific questions?
Yeah. Dan. Yeah,
I
Dan.
just have two quick questions.
Sure.
The very dark areas, there's one right by the bend in the river. Right there by the very dark area, just south of that. It's like black on the map here. What does that indicate? Right there.
Oh, that's a pond.
That's a pond?
Yeah, there's some ponds out in there, so they can.
Oh, okay. And the other question I have is just what the definition of road prism is?
Road prism? So the road prism is like the fill line of the road.
Okay.
So the interest that the town or that a state has is, particularly in areas along North Bennington Road, is that we're not creating a further encroachment into the special flood hazard area. So they've got, the FEH boundary in much of North Bennington Road extends to the north side of North Bennington Road. So even in sections where we're installing the water line along the southern section, we're actually in between sewers, a sewer trunk line, and the road's construction. So all of those things, if a flood or if the river were to migrate north, all of those things would be protected or repaired in the event of that kind of a flood.
Any other questions? The board's pleasure. Barry?
No, I'll move to approve.
Barry moves to approve.
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor? You're all set, Jason.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you very much.
I want to take one other item out of order just because I don't want to forget. The proposed park at 336 Main Street was up for a review before us this evening, and they don't have their plans quite done yet. So they're asking for continuance to our next meeting, which will be July 18 of 2017, because we will not be meeting on the 4th of July. So we're just asking for a motion to continue that to the next DRB meeting in July.
All right, continue. Continue. Second, Charles seconds. All in favor? Okay.
Thanks, everybody. Next item on our agenda this evening is the Bennington Area Chamber of Commerce and the annual Garlic Fest. These folks did come meet with the application review panel last evening, and they did recommend approval, but again, they were asked to make a brief presentation to the full board this evening. And yes, and today we have Brent Jones and Tom Daly and Matt Harrington's in the audience. Maybe call them off.
Actually, I'll start while Tom's signing in. What we're here to do is to talk about Garlic Fest, which will be held on September 2nd and 3rd from 10 to 5 each day. And pretty much everything is going to run this year exactly as it has in the past years. We're working on a couple of things to tweak it and to perfect it, but all in all, it will be identical to what it's been in the last couple of years.
Brenda, would you describe the new tape you're going to use this year because you had trouble with it to mark off the parking?
Yes. What we did is last year, what we wanted to do is to respect the Kennedy's privacy. So we used it's a fiberglass mesh tape. Instead of just using the normal caution tape, we used a fiberglass mesh tape. And what that does is that actually works to, it doesn't stretch. So in the heat of Labor Day weekend, we found that the regular caution tapes just stretch. So what we're trying to do is to keep it nice and neat and tidy, and so that's what we'll be using in the future.
Thank you.
You bet.
It also prevents the folks that want to break through and take a shortcut. It's real easy with the plastic tape just to pop it. This is pretty tough so it deters it a little bit. We expect to do the same that we've done in the past for parking. We're going to have the two entrance exits. We're going to have the same contingent of sheriffs. We endeavor to not have any complaints with regard to holding up traffic out on Route 9. Route 9 is U.S. highway, and we have to respect the fact that we can't stack anything up out there. We've been lucky, or not lucky, lucky, but we've got a good relationship with Sheriff's Department, radios, and so on and so forth, so that when there's emergency vehicles that need to come through, often they're running from the Bennington Hospital down to Albany. We're able to regulate what's going on out there so that nothing's held up. It comes right straight on through and we'll have the as far as the which kind of came up yesterday in a question, the health department, all of the vendors are responsible for getting their own health department license if they're going to serve any kind of food, and that means they have to comply with the state regulations. Oftentimes the health inspector shows up unannounced and goes around and checks on everybody, which is something that we like.
Bill?
What's been your attendance numbers?
Last year, we were right around 15,000.
Has that been holding pretty close?
Last year was the best year we had had. A lot of factors contributed to that. The weather was the biggest thing. The year before, we were around just over 12. And one of the things that we're working on this year is we're coming up with a system to better count those visitors that come, because before that it's very difficult when you have a pile of people that come. So we've got a ticketing system now that we're hoping we're going to be able to get a really good, accurate count.
Any other questions? You have it? Is that it?
That's it.
Okay. What's the board's pleasure?
Go ahead.
I'll move to approve. Okay, Dan, second? Yep. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor? You're all set.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item on our agenda is the craft producers. They're here for the 2017 Arts and Craft Festival, located in the same location as the Garlic Fest. So they're here this evening to discuss that event.
Evening.
Good evening.
I could almost say ditto to what the previous speaker said. As far as the Kennedys are concerned, which continues to be something we work on, I have asked repeatedly the operators of the Arts and Crafts Festival to be sure that people do not move up to that line. I just learned something that perhaps we can replicate the tape that the chamber is talking about to help provide a better barrier.
And just for our folks at home and for the minutes taker, can you just introduce yourself?
Oh, I'm sorry. Brian Lewis, owner of the Antique Center at Camelot, one of the owners. It's a partnership.
Great, thank you. Just-
Thank you.
Oh. It's, as they said, it's basically a replication of what has always been done. I think the parking situation has improved as we've learned more about what to do with it. Sheriff's Department does a wonderful job in traffic control. And I would echo the sentiment about any emergency vehicles that really is going to have to be something that the Sheriff's Department will have to work on, but I will speak with them to be sure that if there is any emergency, and I'm sure they will, and they would do that anyway.
Any questions?
I know. Barry's got one.
Where do you plan, this, unlike the Garlic Festival, I believe you have more campers and people staying overnight.
The lower end of the field.
The lower end of the field?
Absolutely.
Okay, you're staying away from the upper end?
Absolutely, yep. I'm not aware of anyone that camped further up last year. We've really tried to work on that, as respecting the property owners further up.
Good.
Yeah, I think they get more campers because the crafters travel, many of them travel great distances to come to the show.
You're using the same porta potty system that?
Yep.
Is it the same vendor?
I don't make those arrangements. The operators of the Arts and Crafts Festival do that, but I would assume that they would.
Jane?
If that's it, I can follow up and get information for you if that's...
Well, I just want to make sure you have enough of the porta potties.
And we also have facilities inside the building that people can go use, which, given our toilet paper usage, I can assure you they do.
Jane?
How many people did you have last year?
I think it was 6,000 to 7,000, I'm not exactly sure. It's not as well populated as the chamber episode is. But both are wonderful events to have, both for us and for Bennington.
Dan?
And what is the specific date?
It is I don't have a calendar in front of me, but it's the first weekend in August. It is Saturday and Sunday. I'm sure they have that in their application.
Brian, if you heard what they said about the tape, maybe you consider that, so that you have the stronger tape,
Yep,
okay?
yep, I will relay that back up to the folks
Good.
and be sure
Thank
that
you.
that's done. And I want to try to keep all the parking and everything as far away from that hedge line as we possibly can.
Barry?
I just want to touch base with you on the buffer zone for the residents up in the corner. You're going to take that off so that the people respect their property?
Yep, that's what I was referring to, because they don't go further up, absolutely. I will relay that to Charlie and Tim.
Any other questions? What's the board's pleasure?
Dan, can this be approved tonight?
Yes, yes, it can, because people did have an opportunity yesterday to participate if there were any questions, and there were none, so it would be appropriate if you folks feel comfortable with the information you have this evening.
And I apologize, I missed yesterday's preliminary session.
Dan?
So I'll move to approve.
Dan moves to approve. Charles seconds. All in favor? Okay, you all set, Brian?
Thank you all. I hope this benefits the greater Bennington area as well as what the chamber does. It certainly does not, shall I say, hurt our business. Thank you.
As I mentioned earlier, our next meeting won't be until the second meeting in July, which I believe is July 18th. So I want to have a happy 4th of July, and I don't have any other business.
I got a question.
Yeah, Bill.
Exactly why did they have to come in front of us for that, for the water?
Because, well, the state and the town have a disagreement about whether or not a permit is necessary for that. And since the state is involved with the negotiations with St. Gobain, and since they're going to be issuing the permits, we do what they tell us to do. But I don't believe we need to.
Would we normally have?
No.
Oh, okay, all right. That was kind
The
of...
only reason we do it is because the state of Vermont insists upon it for their projects, so.
Okay.
Any other new business? Need a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Barry moves. Where's Mill?
No, second. We're going to stay here all night?
Oh, I'll second it.
All in favor?
Thank you, everybody.
State